Hello, and welcome to another game development broadcast for Project CSK. As usual, of course, I am the creator of the project, and the online name that I go by is Des. We're going to continue working on the project like we have been doing for some time now. And today's our Friday broadcast, and it's going to be a special one. And I'll get into that a little bit later. And I apologize for coming online a little bit later than expected. I've been trying to get my Xbox controller to connect, and for whatever reason, Windows doesn't want to connect to my Xbox controller. I experience this every so often, and it's absurd. It's not complex. I just want it to connect. That's all I want. So right now, my Bluetooth is active, the Xbox controller is on, right? And then when I tell it to connect, or when I turn it on, it previously told me it's connected when it's not. It was obviously not connected. And then when I go and I select Add Device, Bluetooth device, and it gives me the Xbox controller, now it just says connecting, and it just sits there indefinitely. Literally just sits there indefinitely. There's nothing I can do. I've tried turning it off and on multiple times, both the Bluetooth device here and my Xbox controller, but it just doesn't want to work. So I don't really know what to say about that. Okay, whatever. Anyway, moving on. So, welcome to another broadcast where we're going to be doing some stuff on the project. If you were here in the last broadcast, that's pretty much where I'm going to pick things up from. What I have been doing is I've been working on the next YouTube video tutorial. So that's been pretty time consuming for me, and that's something that I really wanted to create because it gives me an opportunity to experiment with different things and try different things out and see, because I enjoy a little bit of everything, right? So it's fun to do that stuff, and I think it's interesting to be able to give that kind of information back to those that it helps out, because I know when I make a video like that, it's not something for everyone, but for those that it does apply to, that information is really valuable, and it's something that they can take that will greatly help them out if it's a challenge that they were unable to solve or weren't sure how to solve, or they wanted to solve it maybe from a different point of view. Like maybe they had a solution, but they wanted to see another solution and then maybe take the combination of both and come up with a better one. Either way, that's all part of, giving back for what you take, right? Because I myself, I use YouTube videos like many other people all the time for research and whatnot, and like shaders, and I like when I'm doing research on shaders, which I have been doing for quite a bit, I've been going through copious amounts of YouTube tutorials that other people have put a lot of time and effort into making. So the least I can do is contribute back to that pool of information, so it would help someone else out in a similar manner, but on a somewhat different topic. I'm not good enough with shaders to make any videos anytime soon. That's for sure. I have a lot to learn, but shaders are really fun, and I've been having quite a bit of fun with them. And I guess I could just wire it. Okay, so we're gonna go old school, and this is part of the reason why I like wired instead of wireless. I'm not a big fan of wireless. However, I do think there are times when it is appropriate to use wireless, but for the most part, though, I always prefer wired. Like I try to avoid Wi-Fi whenever possible. Of course, like on my cell phone, you're going to use a Wi-Fi connection. You're not going to get a USB adapter that gives you a Cat5 connection to your cell phone. I don't know anybody who does that. Well, maybe I do, but still, that's not the point. A wired connection is always going to be better. It's superior. It has less latency. It's more reliable. And USB also powers the device that you're connected to. So that's another advantage in that if your battery runs out, or if you're concerned about your battery running out. Okay, so with that connected, my controller should now be working. This is the first time I'm running it since the last video or the last broadcast that I did. And you'll have to forgive me. My voice is a bit exhausted because of the so many takes that I've been doing of the what do you call it? The YouTube video, because there's a lot of stuff that needed to be said inside of there. Okay, so this is working. So that's pretty good. So that's our placement of an object. And then we got our nice little expressive emote system, and that's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to this kind of functionality. And the better the emotes, like the more of these high quality emotes that I get, the better it just looks. Like this would be like when you go into a space and you want to greet somebody, right? You don't have to speak the same language. You just go in there, press on a gamepad, you press the right trigger, or on the touch screen, you click on this button, right? Or on the keyboard, let's say you're using mouse and keyboard, you can press maybe, I haven't bound a button to it yet, but let's just say it's going to be button E for emote or something, right? You press it, this comes up, and you can navigate through this. This is really easily navigatable, and then you go greetings, right? And then you say hello. So that one is hello, right? Greetings. This one is pleasant goodbye, right? And then some of the other nice ones that I have, this one is like a thinking, right? And then there's confirm. So this one's pretty good. That's a really good confirm. And then we got some other great ones too, like happy. There's all kinds of, happy kind of emotes. And then these are the fantastic ones that I made. These ones, you can tell the quality on these ones are pretty high that I made. Yeah, there's just so many of these that, when you bring it all together, it creates a visual language. And that's the idea with this, right? Because I don't want someone to have to use a keyboard to communicate. You don't have to use voice to communicate. You can do it through a visual language that is streamlined and understandable from anyone's point of view. So you could do all kinds of interesting emotes, and I can do all kinds of transitions and whatnot with it, which I'll get to later. But the limit, like there's no limit. Like this is only, what is this? This is 10? 10? 9. 9, right? So this is 9 categories, we'll call them, right? And then each category can either go in and have another category, right? Or it can be something that you just select, and it can indefinitely be layered on top of each other. Like if you do the math, it actually, let's do some math here. Math is not my strong point. So if we take just the number 9, let's say we're going to use 9. So 9 times 9, right? That's 81 emotes right there, pretty much, right? And then that's only 2 rings, right? So what happens when you put in another ring? That 81 goes to 729, right? That's a lot of emotes from 3 rings, right? Or 3 layered rings of 9, right? So it'd be 9 to the power of, and then if we add another one, it just gets absurd, right? So at this point, that's just, that'll never happen. But even something like, 200-300 emotes would be really great for a visual language of something like this, I think. But yeah, so anyway, that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And then I recently did the shaders here. So we have some shaders for the popsicles, and we have our shield. Oh, I never set that back. Okay, let me do that because I keep forgetting about that. So the thing with shaders is once you make a change, right, it saves it. Whereas the other objects, when you make a change, it doesn't get saved. It gets reset back, right? So this one, the HDR, I believe, is too high. Yeah, 7 is way too much. Let's go tone that down to about 3. Yeah, I think that makes a bit more sense. Maybe even 2. No, I like 3. Let's go with 3. Right? So this gets saved. It doesn't matter if it's play mode or if it's stopped, right? It gets saved either way. But so this one is another really cool one that I did. This one's a shader and it's a 3D object and it's got kind of like a hex pattern to it, which is pretty cool. It doesn't have any other animations, but it's a shader that continuously kind of like gives the illusion of it turning slowly. Actually, no, it's not giving an illusion. It is turning slowly, very slowly on the x-axis. So it gives you this nice little visual effect, which is our shield. And I'll be modifying more of these later and creating a lot more shaders later on. But anyway, so this is kind of where we're at right now. And this is pretty much where I'm going to be picking up from. Like I mentioned earlier, though, I haven't really been working on this specifically. I've been working on the video tutorial. I've been working on some educational stuff for myself in terms of shaders and whatnot. And then, so this one is going to be a special Friday broadcast, and you can take it how you want. It's not the end. It's not the beginning. It's more of a, well, this happens often for me. I don't know about you guys, but the short story is that the landlord is looking to sell, and I know it feels like that I just moved into this place not that long ago. I need to move again. So I have to go through the whole process of doing showings for this place, looking for and finding another place, packing everything up, right? Moving into the new place, unpacking, getting settled in, change of address, and yada, 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 and all the other stuff, you know. So, yeah, this is going to be the last broadcast that I'm going to be doing for a while. I do have a YouTube video coming out, the training one that I mentioned. I will be doing that one. Broadcasts will resume after I move, or if the landlord decides maybe they don't want to sell because it's not a good time to sell. Either way, that's not in my control, and it's something that I have to do. And I've continuously been moving once or twice a year anyway. So at this point, I think I'm kind of getting used to it, even though I'm not a fan of moving. I don't like it. I really don't. But the way that the market is, houses are treated like investments, and just like any other investment, they just get flipped from one person to another. Whereas instead, we should be treating houses for the intended usage of what they're created for, which is a place to live in, a place to have a family, a place to grow up in, a place to make memories, a place to bring friends and those who are close to you over for a gathering, to have some fun, play some video games, watch some movies, whatever the case may be, right? Anyway. So yeah, that's why this is going to be the last broadcast I'll be doing for a while. I don't know when the next broadcast will be. I will definitely be coming back and doing more broadcasts, and I am not stopping work on the project. However, it will slow down, of course, because I have to prioritize moving and finding a new place and all the other stuff that I just mentioned. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what's going on with me right now. So let's move on, and we'll just jump right into it. What I wanted to work on is kind of where I kind of last left things off in the previous broadcast. I don't want to get into any programming stuff right now. I'm not on the right mindset to go into the depth of logic that I need to go into to do code review, to refactor, to fix bugs and whatnot. However, I do want to see if that one bug will happen. There it is. That's the one I was trying to find before. So this is very strange because it only happens sometimes, but not all the time. So it goes behind when it's not supposed to. And this is what I was trying to track down. the last time too in the previous broadcast, but I just couldn't because it was going in front. So let's have a look at it and see kind of what's going on here. I don't want that. I believe I want not the scene changer, pointer handler, circular navigation. Let's focus onto that. Okay, so you can see that it's on top, but it's shown as in behind. And the question, of course, is why? So what happened there? What is causing it to be? Because all of it seems to be behind, right? Like when we look at this stuff. So let's see. I want to go to one specific button and have a look at the canvas layer. Okay, so canvas, order in layer 2. That's why. There's no way that that should be a 2. So something happened that resulted in order in layer 2. What is this? There must be at least 2 buttons to set the left and right navigation references. Yeah, okay, that's nothing. Okay, so now I know that somehow, some way, logically, this ended up being a order in layer 2 when it's actually supposed to be much higher, like 60 or something. And if we bump that up, you can see it goes to the right, you know, in terms of order, it goes up. That's interesting, though, because it only happens sometimes, but not all the time. So I find that very strange. Let's try it again. So if we stop it and play it again, at some point, it just starts working, and then it stops breaking or behaving in that way. So we go here, friends, and there we go. Now it's working again. Interesting. So now if we select layer, go to the button again, and it'll be on a different layer. Yeah, so now it's on 50. I set it to 60 before, but now it's on 50. So this is correct. So how did it end up being 2? What is 2, and where is 2 coming from? So if we go to here, let's go to circular menu, open it up in the prefab. Okay, so starting canvas layer 50. That's what it should be, right? And then it's dynamic. The way that I have it set is that if I need it to be in front of something else, I just pass the starting layer to it, and it'll override this, and it'll be used as the starting layer, and it'll increment upwards from that. Like if I said, as an example, starting layer 100, when it gets dispatched to this point to build out the ring, it'll start at 100, but then every object will go 1 up. So it'll be 100, 101, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, and so on. And it'll just keep going upward. So that's the interesting thing, is that where did that 2 come from? So that came from the friends, but I want to see the prefab though. So this prefab has a canvas with an order in layer of 41. So again, where did that 2 come from? Let's see if we can track it down. Okay, so if we go to the script, let's see, it is the prefab, that's fine. Background selected, remove the top layer, add listener, show. So what we want is the show right here. We want show, and we want to see who calls it. So we'll get back to that in a sec, but let's just jump down here. So into the show, what we do is get the request ID, and then from there, we take the layer parameters, layered menu layer parameters. Okay, layered menu. I read it as layer menu layer, but it's layered menu layer parameters. I guess that makes more sense, but that's a bit of a tongue twister. Okay, so we get that, and then we get, this is the variable that I was talking about, order layer start value, and then we say +1, right? So that means that somewhere, somehow, it came in with an incorrect value at this point, is what I'm guessing right now. So let's jump to it. So on the friends one, that would be called from the dispatch. So let's follow it backwards. So on the dispatch, we have the layered menu layer parameter. I can't even pronounce that right now, to be honest. Okay, so we call this on dispatch. Okay, so let's keep following it backwards. If it was a null value, I wonder. No, that can't be right. Okay, let's keep going backwards. Okay, so what we want is the, let's see. One of these is, so let's just bookmark it. One of these is going to be the friends one. Show selection menu. Let's see, where does this get called from? Show menu, expressive emotes, combat actions. Okay. Show selection menu. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. So let's keep going backwards. Okay, so this gets called from community friends, and that's the path that we're going to take. Members, guild member, whatever. Okay, so we'll go to friends, and then when we go to this point, let's see. On the, when you select something, it gets the actions, and then it just says show selection menu. There's no interesting. Okay, let's move this over here. And then show selection menu. I want to see layer menu parameters. So we'll say if parameters does not equal null, debug.log. I want to see the ID, or sorry, the layer ID that I'm passing in as the starting point is kind of what I want to see. I forget what that variable was called, but we'll find it. So it was the order layer start value. Okay, so that's what I want to see. If this does not equal null, I want to see what is this value, because that will determine everything that gets built up on top of it, right? So from here on the friends, when we handled a click event, right, we got the actions, which is fine. We got the action IDs, which we pass in, but what we're not doing is we're not passing in a parameter. So it's being defaulted. So when that is null, right, because null is acceptable here, if it is null at a certain point, it'll default. So when it comes to here and it's null, it gets passed through the event system, and then we go and capture it. I'm going to close some of this stuff. So when we capture it, we grab this reserved layer for background. Oh, that's what's happening. It's because we're not passing anything in. Because we're not passing anything in, so the background, this gets defaulted. That doesn't make sense. This gets defaulted. So background takes value 1, and then everything else takes the following IDs, which would be ID 2. That's what's happening. But there's a point where this gets set to default, I think. Let's go to this class. Reset default values. And then it grabs those from the config. Okay, but those are not order related. Where's the layer one? Layer defaults to 0. Oh, okay. Okay. So what we need to do then to fix that is quite easy, actually. We need to pass in the layer parameters properly, so that it gets passed through the whole process. So at this point, when we're just passing in, when we're passing in the action IDs, we need to pass in also with it the layer parameters of what layer ID we want it to start with. Otherwise, it'll override, and the override will start at 0. But I don't understand, how can it work sometimes but not work other times? Like, where's it getting that 50 from? Right? Because if it's not defined here, where could it possibly be getting that from? That's what I don't understand. So I don't really know what to say about that, but either way, we'll figure it out, of course. But now we have a much better understanding of kind of what's going on. So with that, what I can do is try and kind of, through the process of elimination, isolate the potential cause and then solve it, which would be great, because that's kind of been a thorn at my side for a while now. So I'm definitely interested in solving this. Okay, so what we want to do then is, what we could even do is actually change that default value from a 0 to a 50, and that would be a much easier fix, because that layer, it should not be going to 0 by default. It should be going to 50 by default. We could even take it higher, actually, but I think changing the default might be better, because the default was never meant to be 0. If you need it to be 0, you set it to 0, which is extremely unlikely, but I mean, for whatever reason, if you need to, then the option is there. So what I'm thinking is to change the default. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But what I don't understand, though, is how come it works sometimes but not other times? I really don't understand that. So let's go and run this. Maybe it's cached somewhere. The value is all I can think of. So if we go to guild, let's say, No, it goes on top. How can it work right now? Wait, where's my output? I told it to output if show selection menu. Where was that output that I had just added? I think I bookmarked it. There we go. Nope, that's not it. Let's close that. Show selection menu. Show selection menu. Okay. Did I not? Okay. No, I don't know where that was. That's unfortunate. Was it up here? Nope. Okay, so I don't remember where I added that if condition. Let's that's a bit unfortunate. I do that sometimes. I really thought it was, okay, so it's not scroll view. It wouldn't be game room. It would have to be one of these. I put that if condition to give a output of the layer ID. I don't know. Okay, so we'll go to selection menu. What I want to see is the, where did I put that? I'm sorry, I'm just not in the zone right now. I don't remember where I put that. I thought it was somewhere here. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So if it equals null, yeah, if it equals null, so here's where the reset happens. But where is the point where it sets that so if this condition happens, then yeah, I don't get it. So if this condition happens, then I get it. It sets them to the config defaults, which actually I made a function for this. I shouldn't be doing this. Should just be calling that one function. The function is, nope, not that. Yeah, so this function right here should be just calling that, but I want to see what, okay, so there's two references here. One is this, which just says gets the value and then goes +1 if it does not equal null. What about when it is equal to null? That means that the condition at this point was not null. Interesting. Event object, this was not null. Okay, I think I'm confusing myself even more, but that's okay. All right, so again, what I want to see is I want to see if I can reproduce that. That's what I really want to see. So from here is when we do the dispatch of the show. So if we follow this thing backwards, it would go back to the friends. It would be the friend. So it would come back to here. So at this point, we're not passing anything in, so it goes to default. There's no way that it could not be null. It has to be null at this point. So it calls this, oh, there's my, if it does not equal null. So if it equals null, how does, I don't even get that. So this is where I put that. Let's bookmark this. So if it does not equal null, if I'm calling it from here, right, I'm not passing anything in, therefore it is null. This is null. So that means every single time, not just sometimes, every single time it should be defaulting to 0 because that was the default value. But it's not. That's very interesting. So something is holding a cache somewhere. That is really interesting. Let's try changing a scene, and I'm curious if that will clear it. So we'll go to scene, we'll go to our test scene, and then we'll go back to the game room. Let's see if that resets it. What I want to see specifically is I want to see the circular navigation incorrectly go behind the panel that's in front of it. Nope. And no. Okay, and these are being put up to level 50. I don't know how to answer that. Where's that 50 coming from? $51. So I'm not sure. Oh, hey there, Mr. Cog 3D. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well and looking forward to the weekend. I know the weather is getting a bit cooler these days. Yeah, it's definitely getting cooler these days, and it's interesting to see the weather change so quickly, because it feels like it wasn't that long ago that it was quite warm, and then all of a sudden it's pretty cool, and not too long from now it's going to be cold. Feeling a little 2D at the moment, or 2.5D. I'm not sure what that means. But, okay, so how do we track this backward? What I'm thinking is we'll go from the endpoint back. That way we should be able to track it down. It's a joke. Okay, I'll take your word for it, but that one kind of went over my head, to be honest. And my mind is, like I was mentioning at the beginning of this broadcast, my mind is just kind of all over the place right now. And yeah, there's a lot on my mind. And this is, like I said, this is going to be the last broadcast that I'll be doing for quite a while. So yeah, I have a lot on my mind. Okay, let's see. What we're going to be doing. Oh, I see. Your name is 3D and you're building 2.5D. Yeah. Okay, so that makes more sense now. Sorry, it just kind of went over me at the time. Let's see. Not on the on click. I want to go from here and I want to go backwards. So if this does not equal null, sorry to hear that. I missed the beginning of the broadcast because I just got here. Oh, I kind of explained my current scenario in that I won't go into it again, but I might mention it again at the end of the broadcast. But I need to move again. I know. I felt like it wasn't that long ago because it wasn't that long ago when I just moved. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to say debug.log. And I want the specifically this a dot layer. And let's grab that. And we'll put that over here. So this way, if it's not null, we should see this output. And this one was the second one. So this one will be the first one. Just so we can easily differentiate at a glance. And I can just double click on it. Oh man, moving is so stressful. Yeah. It's not fun. Such a huge waste of time. Huge waste of my time. I could be doing anything better with my time. Anything and everything that includes relaxing is a better usage of my time than moving again. And I move an average of 1 to 2 times a year right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it. Okay, we go to friends, click, and so it came in front, but I didn't see that output at all. So it is null. That means at this point, no. If layered menu parameters is null, if it does not equal null, get it. Okay, so that means it was not null. So we'll say debug.log. Okay, so in this condition, it is null. And then, so I want to see it being null, and then we'll continue from this logical path moving forward. So let's see it again. So start, go to friend. Okay, so layered menu parameters is null. So where are you getting that 50 from? Okay, so if it is null, let's go forward. Okay, so we pass it in here, add layer group. Layered menu parameters. That's what I'm looking for specifically. If it is null, do this. If it is not null, do this. What? Where's the ID being used then? Okay, so that's not the ID I want. What I want is to see like this is not being passed in. Or sorry, if it is null, this is what's happening. But where do we set the ID if it does exist? Let's open this up here. Okay, so there's 3 references. Let's go over here. Reserved for BG. So, and then starting canvas ID. Oh. And then we call update sorting layer IDs. I see. Okay. So we're getting a bit closer. Kinda. So if we go back here, so right after here, that means that this was null. So if this was null, what's the default value? Starting canvas layer ID, circular selection menu. I think that's where that 50 is coming from. So if we go to here, circular menu selection, and we go to our prefab, and there's our 50. Okay, so that's where the 50 is coming from. But how come sometimes it's 0, but sometimes it's 50? It can't be 0. Can it? Reserved for BG? I don't understand that. I don't think that's right. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's right. Because, so the default is 0, yes. This should not be used, though. Because if, no, either it should always, sorry, that's what I meant to say. Either it should always default to 0, or it should always default to 50. Right? Or whatever that's passed in to override this 0. Right? In this particular case, we'll just go through it step by step. So what's happening is that we're checking if the parameters are not equal to null. If they're not equal to null, this may or may not be set. If it is not equal to null, we use this. If it equals to null, then we use, I don't get it. But either way, I think changing this from 0 to a 50 would solve it. But I was just curious though, how does that come about that sometimes it gets sorted behind and sometimes it's in front, and I still don't get it? And I don't think I'm in the right mindset, to be honest, right now to figure that out right now. But now that I know about it, next time when I have an opportunity and I'm in a better state of mind, what I can do is I can track it down better. So for right now, I'm going to leave it at 0 because I want it to keep happening. That way it's a reminder to me for me to fix it. So what I will do though is I will take that out. I'll take that out. And we'll take out this test output stuff. And let's just move on. Okay, and what do I want to move on to? I want to do some pixel art. I want to do something that's a little bit easy. I could definitely use it. I want to do a little bit of easy stuff. Pixel art sounds good. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of pixel art. I found layering confusing at times. Usually it is because I use different ways to layer and it conflicts. Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. Layering, you need it. Layering, I think, was provided to create a simple solution for a complex challenge, but that simple solution is a simple solution and it's too simple. Therefore, when we use it in the way that we use it, it's used in various different ways and not just once. So you need to implement another system just to manage that layering, which gets complex again. So it all comes down to managing how you call it, when you call it, what is the ordering, why is the ordering a certain way when it could be another, and so on and so forth, right? So I think it's good. It's a good tool. I think it's implemented well-ish, but there is flaws with ordering that they need to address as well. There are some bugs, like sometimes when you're working inside of prefab, the order will show one thing, but when you go and you play it in game view, right, it'll show us something different. So there's some inconsistencies and some weird anomalies that need to be addressed. And I'm sure they'll get it eventually, but it'll just take a little while. But I'm also running currently not the bleeding alpha, but I am on the latest beta, which is 2022.1.16 F1, which definitely has some bugs. It definitely has some bugs that they will fix, but I don't care. I'm not publishing anything right now, right? And it works well enough. I get to mess around with whatever is their latest stuff that they have, so I don't really mind. Okay, so like I said, what I want to do is I want to move on to some easy stuff. So let's open up, actually, let's make a new project, or not a new project, but a new version. Before we go and open it up, so just bear with me for a second. It didn't open. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. Interesting. So it did open. It just went, that's not what I wanted to do. It did open. It just went kind of behind, which is a bit strange, but okay. All right. So what I want to do is similar to what I said before, there's this tree idea that I think is a good one because I want to replace. So what I want to replace specifically, Unity's so slow. Come on. What I want to do is I want to replace kind of the current cube mushrooms that I'm using. Yeah, so you can see I want to replace these things. So these blue kind of cube mushrooms with white dots on them, I want to replace those to something that's a bit more appropriate. So it also allows me the opportunity to get a little bit creative because I like the drawing part of it too. I'm not amazing at it, but I'm definitely learning and getting better. So I want to also open up this Unity project, so that'll take a little while. So we'll open that up, and then what else is there that I want to do? Oh, right, I need my references. Okay. We'll just kind of wait for that to open. Okay, yeah, so this is the tree that I'm going to be using. What I want to do, like I mentioned before in a previous broadcast, I do have some samples of this. So I'm going to be bringing those into Sprite and then just kind of messing around with it. But I want to see what size do I really need. So I need it to be basically the size of one of these things. Tiny bit bigger is okay. And I think we're going to need that. But ultimately, I want it to be the size of one of these. So I might even take this and just deform it, and just if I can't get a good start on it, but we'll take a look at that in just a sec. Let me just kind of prep this real quick, and then we'll jump into Sprite and do some pixel art stuff. Okay, so where's my trees? Okay, and then just another minute or so, or under a minute, hopefully. Okay, so we are good to go. So let's jump into it. Okay, so here's my trees that I have. And these are the ones that we're going to be kind of working on a little bit. So what I need is something kind of a little bit smaller, because these two, they're okay. They're pretty good for a starting point, but I need a place to put them. We're kind of running low on space. Okay, so maybe I'll take them and make a new tree layer, I think. Because these ones, I want room for them to iterate on. So I think what we'll do is we'll just make a new tree layer. New layer. Okay. And then we will copy that, or cut that, should I say, and paste it in here. And then we can just kind of lock the other layer so I don't accidentally select it. But okay, so this is what we're going to be working with. I could probably actually move this so it's kind of out of the way. So what we want is, why is that still up? Okay, so let's separate them out. This will be kind of the mini. This one will be the bigger one, and we will iterate on these, but I want to get the size right. And for the size, what I need to do is I need to get a reference. So I'll be grabbing one of those, whatever it was called. That's what I want. So I'm just going to grab one of these. Let's grab the blue one, I guess. That way we can do a side by side. Yeah, so I need it to be quite a bit smaller. It's going to be challenging, but I think we can do it. So what we'll do is we'll take this one. Actually, just want to keep it kind of close just for reference purposes. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just take this one and we will transform it to about that size, and then we'll clean it up. Right? So that seems about right. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I want to, yeah, let's clean it up first. Just in case, let's copy that and move that over there in case I mess this one up badly. So left and right should be roughly the same. Okay, so that seems like kind of similar. At this point, okay, so they do look kind of the same, but also it looks like we've lost a bit of detail. So let's put some of this detail back and just kind of clean it up and round it off a little bit and see what it looks like. Why am I getting hungry? It must be the images. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm hungry all the time too myself. Like I eat a lot and I'm always still hungry. I don't know how that works either, but somehow it does. Okay, so let's see. So this one will go two over, one down. This one should go up, then over. How did that not line up? Okay, so the bottom lines up, this lines up, this lines up, this does not. This line, oh, okay, I see. It's favoring one side. So what we need to do is just go here, here, and then go here, here. Yeah, okay. That kind of works, I guess. We could sharpen it up a little bit maybe, but we'll get to those touches, finishing touches in a little bit. Okay, so we got the top rounded. What we'll do is we want to clean up this bottom a little bit more as well before we start modifying it anymore. So it should be about kind of this area. That looks okay-ish. Whoops. I think I like this pixel being here and this one not being there a bit better. Okay, so that's this part, or this side, should I say. Now we just need to do this left one a little bit. So that seems off. There's something really relaxing about pixel art. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's like it's so different than programming. You just do it and time just goes by so quickly and so just, I don't know. It just feels like it just glides by, but it's also really enjoyable. Okay, so this is a bit awkward. Doesn't seem right. Maybe we need to go like so. And then like that. Yeah, I think so. Okay. So I'm okay with this iteration of it, so we don't need this one. We can pass on that one. This can be our first of this type. I'm not opposed to that green color either. I think it has room for improvement, but I'm not entirely opposed to it. Okay, so that's going to be the first iteration of this. However, I want to preserve that one and then move on to the next iteration of it where I'm going to deviate. I want to kind of make it kind of like a spiral at the top, if possible. I think the top is going to be right about there. So that's kind of the right spot, but I think it needs a bit more emphasis on its spiralness. I don't know. I was kind of imagining the spiral looking a little bit better than that. Maybe what we'll do is we'll artistically deviate. Go up like so and around. Yeah, let's try that. We'll intentionally deviate Just need a little bit space to work with. So it'll kind of deviate, go around this way, and then down. Yeah, let's try that and see kind of what that looks like when we actually kind of commit to it. I think that looks okay, actually. It has room for a little bit of improvement for sure. Whoops. Not sure why that one was discolored, but okay. I think that looks kind of stylized. Wait, I just realized my camera died again. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I'm just not having a great week. I will one day fix that and get a better camera, but I just got too many other priorities right now. Okay, so I never noticed the camera. You know, neither do I, to be honest, until it dies out. And because I glance, I have two monitors, right? I'm going from one monitor to the other monitor back and forth, right? And then I look and I'm like, wait, why is there a black dot there? Oh, right, my camera died again. Yeah, that's when I noticed the camera. Otherwise, I don't notice the camera either, really. I intentionally make it small and tiny and just kind of toss it into the bottom. That way, I just don't really care about it. And my camera is not the greatest video quality anyway. But like I mentioned before, though, I don't mind the idea of kind of bringing myself into it. Like, I can't do it with the current setup. I need a better camera. So imagine a camera, a green screen, right? And then I would kind of take like the upper like chest area, and then with the green screen, mask out the background, and then bring that in and have that be roughly the same size, but it would appear to be bigger because the background would be gone, and then the graphic of me that's in there would just be scaled up. So it pretty much still consumed the same amount of space of the screen. You just wouldn't see the background. Instead, you'd get more of me. So I don't mind trying that and seeing if that works out well. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. You know, it's worth a try, right? I mean, I don't mind trying different things, but since this is going to be the last broadcast that you're going to be seeing for a while, that's not a priority, not even remotely close. So we'll see when I come back after I figure out the things that I need to figure out, and we'll see how it goes. Does this spiral make sense? I don't know. It feels a little off. I think it's because I need to just tweak it a bit more. Like this side here kind of seems a little odd to me. I guess it was just that one pixel, really. I think I like this conceptually, but let's try it with some color variations and see what it comes out as, right? Because that's the important part. I want some color variations to this. So let's say this one is okay, right? Copy that over there. Let's move this and we'll borrow some colors from this one. Okay, so our highlight color is going to be this. I think that's a bit too dark, actually. Our highlight color needs to be much lighter. I think this color could be that blue. This color could be this blue. This color could be this blue. Yeah, these colors don't work. Okay, I need better blue colors. That's a hard nope. Let's go to our trees. I want, probably this one has the most range of colors. I want, yeah, so I want this one because it's got some nice soft blue colors. So we will make sure to select the right layer. Okay, so we'll grab that one, bring it up here. Okay, and then go back and grab this one. We only really need a slice of it. So we'll just grab that one, hide this layer, and bring this one in as well. So I'll use these as my blue color references and see which one I like. Can cell phones pick up your 1 pixel outline? Yeah, cell phones are definitely going to pick up the 1 pixel outline. I'm also intentionally making it a smaller resolution. So even cell phones at anything, so at approximately, not exactly, but approximately 720p resolution will be slightly upscaled. So you'll get some, a little bit extra pixels, but at 1080p, which is what most cell phones are these days, or I would say the average device is, it will already be stretched. So you'll get 1.5 to 2 pixels. And then anything greater, like of course at 2K and at 4K resolution, you'll get even more thicker because everything just multiply it, right? So it should scale well. And I have tested it and I've shown you guys too. When I install it onto my personal tablet, that thing is running at 1080p resolution, right? So it's totally noticeable, and it upscales some of this stuff, and it looks pretty good. It looks really good, actually. Okay, so let's go with some soft color here. So we'll grab that one to here. I think that makes sense. This one here, here, and here, and then this one here, here, and here. And then this one for here and here. No, I think I got them backwards. I think I got them backwards. Okay, so the soft color goes there. And the same one goes here. The darkest color is going to be this one or this. No, this one's darker. We'll go with that one. So that's going to be the darkest. And then for the second darkest, let's go with this one. And then these are supposed to be, right, these are supposed to be that color. And then we need the soft blue. It kind of looks frozen. It's kind of neat, but it does kind of look frozen as well. Let's keep going with it temporarily. I just want to see what it looks like, and then we'll refine the colors. But I do like the concept of it. I like this little spiral thing on the top. I think that was a neat idea, actually. Okay, and then we will set the outline color. How did I miss some pixels? I did miss some pixels. Oh no. So that's why it looked off. Okay, that's my bad. I missed some pixels. So this should be here. Oops. This should be here, 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 and here. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. And then this can go here, here, and there. And of course, this will fill that in. I need to adjust those, but I think that does look okay. However, this looks more like a snow or a frosted kind of look, and I kind of like it, to be honest. The outline has room for improvement, but I do like it. However, I do want to fix this one real quick because I'm not going to remember this later. So let's fix this real quick. Okay. Yeah, I think this looks decent. Let's adjust the colors. I wasn't going for a snowy kind of color. So let's grab that and we'll make a new iteration of it. Okay, so let's bump up the color. So previously we used this, right? So we'll move this one out of the way. Now we're going to use this one. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, so the darker colors, I'll leave that briefly. I do want to adjust those, but let's go and kind of darken it up a little bit. So we'll go with this, actually, search and replace. I forget about that. Shift R, we want to replace this with this. Okay. And then we want to replace this one with this one. And then our blues. So what I want to do is replace this one. So we'll replace this color with something that's, actually that's not bad. With that there, I think that works. But I want to tune these. These are a bit too, the blues seem a bit too, I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it, but it looks very different, right? Like when you compare these two, this one looks like it's snowed on, right? Whereas this one just looks colorful, even though the colors have room for improvement. It just looks colorful, right? So what I want to do specifically, though, is I want to tune these colors. Not exactly this light, but not this dark either. Maybe somewhere in between. But I want certain colors to stand out more, of course. This color here is just too dark. I like this one here, but I think it may be better used elsewhere inside of this. I do like this one. So that one is okay. This was that one. That is that one. Then we have So the strip colors. Okay. And then we have our outline. Okay. So those are the 4 colors that we're using. When we put them side by side, it really does stand out more of that. There's room for improvement here. So this would be this color here. So that one is okay for now. However, I do want to tune them. So let's go ahead and adjust these. See if we can come up with something a bit more pleasing. Saturation was definitely too high. I think about there. I want to keep it kind of similar, but not exact. I think that's a bit better. Okay, and then we'll go to this one. We'll soften this one up a bit. Okay. And then for these ones here, so I want to actually take from this and darken that one up. That might be a bit too dark. And then this one, I want to soften this one up a bit. Don't need it to be quite that dark, but we do want it to have a little bit of dark to it. Let's try these and see. What does it look like? Okay, so that's way too dark. Yeah, it's not as strong. The colors were a bit too strong before. I think I prefer this a little bit, but still it's a tiny bit too much, specifically this color here. This one was too much. So this one we need to kind of tone it down a little bit. So let's soften that up a bit. A little bit more. Yeah, I think that works. Let's try that. Okay. Might be a little bit too much, even though yeah, it's too much. I keep comparing this one to this one. I'm actually supposed to be comparing these two to each other. So it needs to be quite a bit lighter. That makes more sense, I think. I think that's good right there. So now we need to do the outline, because the outline I feel like is kind of the wrong color. And it's going to be a 2-color outline. So our outline should be about here-ish. So this will be one color of the outline. On the lighter side of it, and then we'll have a second outline that will be slightly darker than this, or quite a bit darker, should I say. It's not even noticeable. Maybe we'll just use the same color then, because I'm already dark enough that in these colors that you don't really notice it. It's just that when the outline is too dark, then you do notice it. But if it's not as dark, oh wow, that's not dark enough. On the dark side, it needs to be way darker. Nope. Undo. Okay, maybe it's just this color that I'm not a big fan of. So let's see if we can find a better color for that. Yeah, I guess that's okay. It's really dark though. I know it's not that different from the existing color. I don't know if you guys see it from the quality of the bitrate of the video may not show that. It's a little bit darker, but it's got a slightly different tint to it. Okay, so that would be our blue one. I think it actually turned out pretty good. I like that. I really like that, actually. So the blue one turned out well. The green one is, it has room for some improvement. But the cool thing about doing color variations is you can keep doing more. So we got blue, we got green. What was the other one? Blue, green, pink. Oh, we can do an awesome pink one. Yeah, let's do that. I'm so down with that. Let's do it. Okay, so for the pink one, I'm going to see if I can borrow from this one, because I think this one should have pretty good pink colors. If it doesn't, then I'll come back and borrow maybe from this one. I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out. Okay. Nope, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. On that layer, select this, copy that, unhide, paste it here. Okay, so we'll do a pink one. Okay, let's see. Let's see what it looks like. What we'll do is we'll take the soft color, apply that to there. We'll take, I think, this one. Let's do it this way, actually. There's a search and replace tool. I keep forgetting about it. Honestly, I do, but it's a great tool. It's just awkward the way you use it. So you say from this color to this color, right? So, and then you click OK. Wait, why did that one dot get skipped? That's right. It's a different color. What else got skipped? Okay, and the others are fine. Okay, so that's those. So now we need our darker colors. The darkest one, I think this should work fine. So let's go ahead and go here, search and replace this with this. I think that should work well. Okay, so we just need a slightly darker color, which we will use this one, I think. Why did I clear that? Search and replace. We'll say this with this, right? And then what we'll do is we'll go with another search and replace our outlines directly to... Why did that not work? So replace that with this. Okay. So that worked. That's good. So we just need one more stronger outline. First time chat from Vaxearl. Oh wow, nice effect. It looks like the light is bouncing off the pink tree onto the blue tree. Okay, thank you. Hello and welcome to the project. Interesting that you come into one of my last broadcasts that I'll be doing for a while. But hello and welcome. Hope you're doing well. Feel free to share a little bit about yourself and tell us, are you also a game dev? I get quite a bit of game devs and developers and whatnot coming in to this broadcast periodically, which is nice. I do like it. Fellow developers, I'm a big fan. I happen to like doing a little bit of programming as well. I don't only do pixel art, but yeah, just kind of having a little bit of fun, working on my own project, and I think it's turning out well. Okay, so that's going to be, I think, our pink tree. So now we got the pink one, we got the blue one, and we got our green one. I think these colors also were incorrect, so let's fix that. Okay, so with those, so if you can imagine it, right? When we bring those in, my idea with this is either A, we can alternate them, or B, we could just use one for now, right? And it would replace these mushrooms. And the reason why we made it exactly that size is because when you go and you replace one of these, it won't impose onto the tile before it. So if there's a pickup item or something in behind it, right, you can still see it, right? So that's why these are made exactly in this size, and I'm hoping they're going to fit because we're going to test it out, and I'm really hoping they're going to fit. So that's going to be our 3 color variations: the pink, the blue, and the green one. I kind of feel like I want to just mess around with the colors of the green one a little bit. Let's do that. Let's see if we can kind of adjust these colors a little. I feel like there's room for some improvement on the green one. I do a little bit of pixel art and coding. Well, that sounds great. What kind of stuff do you work on for hobby or whatever, if you don't mind me asking? Because I do this for fun, right? I like this stuff. I do it for fun. And I'm working on a YouTube video that I mentioned earlier as well. So another tutorial video that'll be coming out hopefully this weekend. If not, sometime within the next week is going to be my next tutorial going to be coming out of how to make a scroll view. So the Unity scroll view component, how to make it auto scroll. So when you bring this up and go into our friends, so this is the functionality I'm going to be sharing with you guys, is the auto scroll of how to keep your selection within the scrolled area. And that's what the tutorial is about. And it's going to be long. I was surprised that it's going to be so long. I was thinking initially I could do it in like 5-10 minutes. Nope, that's not happening. There's too much stuff to cover. But this is the functionality that I'm basically sharing, is this right here. So to keep your selection always in the view. But yeah, so that's going to be the tutorial that's going to be coming up. I do it for fun too, working on a recreational hexagon board game. Cool. I like hexagon stuff. Actually, there's a video tutorial recently about, I think, Code Monkey or somebody who did a tutorial where he was talking about the math of doing a hexagon kind of grid system, and it looked pretty interesting. I've personally never done it in the way that he's done it. I've messed around with it on a different project, and I went about it a completely different way. So it's interesting to get to see a point of view from different people who make this stuff, and it's really good educational wise or just for inspiration or borrowing stuff from it. It's really helpful to be able to see that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay, so let's see if we can kind of touch up these colors a little. I feel like this one is different. Oh, it is different. And here I thought these were the same color. So I made these the same color, and I made this one and this one the same color. I don't think it's noticeable, honestly. Not really that noticeable. I mean, I could tint it. I don't think users will notice it that much. No, I'm going to keep it simple. Let's keep it simple. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to adjust this green here, just because I feel like this one is a bit off for me. Let's see if we can soften that and bring it from a gray to a bit more of a colorful, cheerful green. I do want it to be like a kind of a cartoony green, of course. But I'm terrible with colors, which is ironic. I think I like that green a little bit better. So let's try that and see what that looks like. Okay. Then if we bring this one down here, okay, so then now the shadow side of it is a bit too strong. So let's go ahead and soften that up. I think a bit more. Not too much, just a little bit. Okay, maybe a little bit more, just a little bit more. Not quite there yet. I'm going to be sitting here for hours. Just a little bit more, just a little bit more. 4 hours later, still going. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Now let's do this one here. I feel like it's too strong. Okay, so that feels a bit more cartoonish to me rather than this one. The colors were just a bit too, I don't know, like navy green, and I'm trying to soften it up to be a bit more cartoony green, if that even makes sense. But I feel like this should be a slightly different tint. Yeah, kinda. I don't know. I think it's better, but we'll see. Okay, so that's going to be my 3 color variations. So we got the pink one, the blue one, and the green one. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, so what we'll do is we will grab these and I'll bring them in for my export layer. So we'll just grab that one. We will grab this one. Seems like I got a little bit extra on the corner of that one. And then we'll grab this one. Let's go and remove that. And we'll just line these up with a little bit of spacing because it doesn't matter that much. It's going to be going into our texture atlas anyway. So it's not a big deal if they're not perfectly lined up or anything like that. Okay. So we'll grab those, hit X. Okay, so let's hide that layer and we'll go into our export layer or for export, ground textures, environment. Okay, and we'll paste it right here alongside some of the other stuff. Again, I'm not concerned about space-wise. I just don't want to move the other stuff. As long as there's enough space for us to slice it in, then it should be good. So I think that's fine. And then what we need to do is bring in the shadows layer. Okay, so now this is ready for export. Yeah, pretty much. So let's go ahead and export this and then have a look at it and see what we got. Okay, so I would say that that export looks pretty good. So these are the 3 additions that we're adding in. These other ones, I don't think I'm using those yet, but we'll figure it out. So let's bring this in and see if we can, or what kind of complexity. Hopefully it won't be too complex to add, but okay, so we're okay for time, but I will be cutting it. And again, this is going to be my last broadcast that I'm going to be doing for a while. So for those of you that are new coming in, hello and welcome. You're coming in at a very strange time, okay, so let's go to our images for Atlas, environment. Okay, so we need to replace this one. Yeah, so if we just replace this one, so those 3 will go in this area here, and then we'll add them additively. Okay, so we just need to open this up. And then we'll take our object. Okay, I pasted it on my desktop and I have no idea where it went. Too bad, was getting used to seeing your progress live. I know, I like sharing that with you guys as well. I just, you know, things just, they don't always work out. And you've been here long enough, I think, that you know that I end up moving a lot. That's just my luck. That's just how it goes. I don't like it, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. Like there's nothing I can do about that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to take this, replace that file. Okay, so that needs to be updated. Okay, so it did detect them, which is great. Okay, so what we need to do is say slice. I guess it doesn't even really matter, does it? Because we're naming them. Yeah, we're naming them, so it doesn't even matter because everyone follows a naming structure. So we can just do this. It's not a big deal. I know I need to adjust the sizes, but we'll get to that. I used to have to move a lot. Then I lived here for 7 years, and prior to that, I lived there for 18 years. That's unheard of for me. That doesn't happen. For me, that's just not possible. I end up moving so much. It's like I don't get it. It's just my luck or something, but it's so not fun to move. And it interrupts everything that you're doing in your work life, your personal life, everything. And then the worst part, though, for me, the part that I like the least, is the hunting for a new place. Because as it is right now, the market is out of control, right? And prices keep going up, and up for no reason other than just because numbers have to go up. But yeah, so it's just the way it is. So it gets even harder and harder to find a reasonable place. Get married. Yeah, that's okay. I think I'm okay with the way that things are right now. All right, so we'll call this one 0, 1, and 2, but we need to follow the naming convention. So what did we call these? So these were tree size medium. These ones are still kind of a size medium. These are still the same size, roughly speaking. We could call them a small. I don't think we're using a size small, are we? Tree, no, capsule, that's the only capsule trees that we have. Okay, so we could call these a size medium since, sorry, these ones are a medium. We can call these ones a small, and then the ones that are smaller than this could be the extra small ones. I don't really know. Or we can come up with a new naming convention, actually, for these. Instead of capsule, yeah, let's come up with a better name for it. Actually, this one is blue is 0, green is 1, pink is 2. Let's do the same. Blue will be 0. I'll change that in a sec, but let's go with 0. Pink we said was 1. No, pink is 2. Green is 2. Or sorry, I'm getting mixed up. Green is 1, pink is 2. Green is 1. Green is 1. And then pink will be 2. Okay, so let's change the name. What do we want to call it? One cannot live alone anymore, and it is going to get worse. I agree with the second part. The first part is, let's say it's subjective. Okay, so what I want to do is call it, wait, what happened here? I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, so this one is tree. It's not really a capsule like these ones here. So these ones, I called them capsules. These ones, we can come up with a new name entirely. So it is a tree instead of capsule. What's a capsule size or capsule shape object with the top being more narrow than the bottom? It's not really a cone, but what else would it be called? A cone capsule? A capsule cone? I don't really know. What does Google tell us? Mr. Google, help us. Capsule shape with narrow top. I'm not really sure if this is going to be helpful. Could call it a cone capsule or a capsule cone. I don't know. Any suggestions? Well, a second person is half the rent. I agree with you. You're not wrong. It's just a whole different conversation of things that I don't really want to get into, if that's okay with you. Let's see. Any suggestions? Okay, that's not really working. Let's go to dictionary. No, we'll go to the free dictionary.com and we'll use the capsule and we'll go to thesaurus and let's see what we get. So we got a bunch of things. Got pill, no. Tablet, not really. Lozenge, I have no idea what that is. A bolus, I've never used that before. Pod, I don't know about that. That's pretty much a capsule. Pod is pretty much a capsule. Pericarp, I have no idea what that is. Seed case, receptacle, that's interesting. Sheath, vessel, shell, and case. None of those really meet kind of what we want. What we want is something that could be used for this particular case. So I want to change this one word. I want to change the word capsule to what? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. We can call it I don't know. Help me out, guys. What's an appropriate name for something that's shaped like a capsule but is narrower at the top? I need a descriptive word. We can't use capsule because I'm already using it, right? A popsicle. I'm already using popsicle, but that is actually a good idea. I'm already using popsicle. That would have been really good if I wasn't using it, actually. Let's see if thesaurus gives us other options for the word popsicle. Popsicle, frozen dessert, nope. Okay, so that didn't really work out. They look like sherbet. I have no idea what that is. What is a sherbet? A frozen dessert made mainly of fruit juice or fruit sugary milk kind of thing. Okay. Let's go with Google. I don't want to call it ice cream or something specific, because it's a category. It represents a grouping of not what it looks like, but what the shape looks like. So imagine if it was blank in the middle and it didn't have the spirals. It had no color. It's just a gray, black and white object. What is the descriptive word for the shape of it? Wow, these look delicious, and I am so hungry. Why am I looking at this again? I completely forgot. Cone, I guess, is somewhat descriptive, but cone is pointy at the end. So is there another word for cone? I have no idea what some of these words are. A dictionary, it's a wild thing. Sushi in a cone. I would probably eat that, actually. Sushi in a cone. I would totally eat that. You want sushi? I always want sushi. That's not really a question. Yeah, I don't know what to call it. A rounded cone, what is a rounded cone? So a rounded cone, what is a rounded cone? Yes, I am curious. This is a truncated cone with a matching spherical cap. Okay. Is there a word for it? Oh, what is this word? It's, where'd that word go? I want that word back. I didn't want to leave. Okay. I can't even pronounce that even if I tried right now. Let's be honest, right? Okay, come on, chat. Let's all embarrass ourselves. How do we pronounce this? Rechnero. I'm trying. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that word. I'm going to go back to the dictionary because I want to see what that is. Of course, that doesn't have it. Okay, let's go back to Google. And we'll say define this word. What is this word? Yeah, that's not very helpful. I don't know if that's really a word. It could be a combination word. Yeah, I'm spending half an hour trying to find a word to call a type of group of graphical objects. We could just call it round cone, I guess. I think we'll just go with a round cone. Just because I don't want to spend any more time on it. I think round cone is not perfect by any means, but it gives me a good platform for this category. So all of these fall into a category and subcategory. This one, the main category is a tree. Round cone is the shape of it. S is the size of it. And then the following last number is the variation ID. So we have 0, 2, and then 1. These should probably be changed from a small to a medium now that I think about it. But they're slightly smaller than this. So let's stay with the small. Okay, so we'll save this, apply, and then we'll need to go into our what's it called? I forget the name of it. The atlas. We'll need to rebuild our atlas. Sprite atlas. Okay. That is not the atlas I was thinking of. Interesting. I thought I removed that. Did I not consolidate that atlas into something else? Resources, image, sprite atlas. Interesting. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. So images for atlas, but where's my actual atlas though? There we go. That's the atlas I was thinking of. Okay, so I forgot. I guess maybe I didn't consolidate those, but this is my atlas. So we changed that graphic, right? So it should be populated into the atlas when we say pack preview. And it rebuilt it, but there it is. Okay, so there's 1. Okay, so they're in here somewhere. So there's 2. So we got these 2, and then where's Waldo, the pink one? And there's the pink one right there. Okay, so we got it. So they're in here. We can access them, but we don't have a category for them in terms of script. So let's see what it takes to kind of create one. Because we need to do the whole, the shadows for the shadow casters and all of that stuff, which I haven't really touched on in quite a while. Oh, hello, Yuzak. Welcome to the broadcast. Hope you're doing well. I'm glad that you guys are here for the last broadcast. Because there's, like I said, there isn't going to be another one for a while. But I will be online, though. I'll still be online in Discord. I'll be available. And we do have Halloween coming up, too. So for those of you who are interested, Halloween is approaching. Will there be an event? Yes, there will be the Halloween event. For those of you who don't have the pumpkin pets or are looking for the other Halloween specific quest items, or not quest items, but should I say items? Yeah, so Halloween will happen. It's just that it's been so just when I found out just recently, not that long ago, that I need to move again, it just kind of threw a wrench in everything for me. In terms of like my work doesn't even know yet, because I don't know yet when the house is going to be sold. I have to do showings. I have to, look for a new place and all of that stuff. So it's not fun, and it's a really difficult time to move right now, because I don't think I'll find anything in this price range anymore. So I'll have to pay significantly higher for considerably less. That's not a pleasant thought. But yeah, so this is going to be the last broadcast for a while. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are here though for this last one. There will be more. Make no mistake on that. There will be more, but this one's going to be the last one for a while. And I have that YouTube video, the video tutorial coming out, hopefully this weekend, if not sometime within the next week or so. It'll be my second tutorial that I've made so far on YouTube, which I think is going well. There's a lot to learn, and I do mean a lot to learn. It's not easy to do that stuff, and it's so time consuming too. You think, oh yeah, it's not that hard. You just record yourself doing this thing, you chop it up, you put it back together, you look at the video and the audio, they don't match, so then you want to do new audio, right? You do the new audio and you chop it up into segments to match the video. The audio doesn't match the video. You go back, you create a script for the audio to match the video, then you go buy the script, and now you have this new audio, and now the new audio doesn't match the chopped up video. You need to modify the video to match the audio. And it's like, it's this whole process, and I skipped over a few steps in between that can eat up a lot of time very quickly. But I think it's worth it in the end, and it's kind of fun to make too, make videos and whatnot. Oh no, sorry to hear that. Yeah. I really just moved into this place not that long ago. It hasn't even been a year. But it is what it is, so just got to keep going. All right, what I want to do is I want to go to Game Room, where we create the environment around our, where's my test one? Okay, so we tell it to generate a bounding environment specifically. Okay, so when we say generate bounding environment, that's what creates those little mushroom things. And this is where we determine what is the border of it. And currently we're going thickness of 1, which is fine. I'm just going to leave it as that. But then I want to look at where the object is created. Okay, and here's the object. I call create random environment object, which is obviously not correct. This was just temporary. And this that's being passed in, I don't think that's even being used. So we're passing in object size. Okay, so maybe the size is being used. Key ID, structure count, okay. And then where do we set the shape of it? Okay, right here. So we say environment, mushroom, cube. That's what we're currently creating. So what we want to do is create a new category for it. So let's go into here, and inside of our enum, what did we call it? So it is a tree, yes. So it'll be tree, and then what did we call it? Something cone. I wish I would have used the other way of these enums. It's better to define the ID of the enum. I find it more useful. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Okay, so, whoops, not there. What I want to do is add, what did we call it? Round cone. It really should have been called an upside down round cone, but because round cone, when you think of a cone, you don't think of it as the tip on the top. Usually you think of a cone as the tip on the bottom. I mean, depending on how you think about it, of course, but oftentimes I think it would represent the tip being on the bottom and the wider part, similar to the letter V, it being larger on the top end, but whatever. Okay, so we'll add this here. So we should have access to that. What I want to do is take these duplicate that. And then instead of environment, instead of mushroom, it's going to be a tree. And instead of cube, it's going to be a something round cone. Okay? So then now when it goes to generate it, though, it's going to fail because we don't have conditional logic to handle that. Can I get another set of the pumpkin pets? Yes, you can, because those quests are repeatable. You can get it and you can have more pumpkin pets, or you can just save the eggs. If you want to collect those, you can definitely do that. There's no limit on that. It's not restrictive in that way. It's just that it comes by only once a year during the Halloween event only. And that's the only time it's available. That's really the only restriction. And I have had people ask me if it's obtainable outside of Halloween, and the answer is no. Those are going to be Halloween only. And in the future, I would like to add more and modify the Halloween event so then we can have more interesting things. For the players, both new and the older players, because the older players likely they would have obtained these from a previous event, right? Or a previous year's Halloween event. So it makes sense to give them something new to work towards, and it brings more people together. And that's what's really important ultimately for a multiplayer game, is to bring people together so that they can have fun playing with each other online in whatever type of game mode they want to play. If they want to play in the game rooms, you can do that and play Bomberman. If you want to be in the world, do some quests, defeat some enemies, collect some items, collect some pets, whatever, right? So, yeah, I think it's a good event, personally. I've always liked Halloween. And of course, when I was younger, I liked the candy. Oh, absurd amounts of candy. I used to go trick-or-treating, which is common for younger kids to do that. For adults, of course, you don't really do that unless you're taking your kid or your nephew or someone that you're a guardian of. You take them trick-or-treating. It's still fun to see the kids having fun. But as a kid, it's all about the candy. Make no mistake, it's all about the candy. And eating disgusting amounts of it to the point where you kind of feel sick. Yeah. Okay, so at this point, when it goes to create it, it is going to fail. And it brings us to the other section of the code, which I haven't refactored that logic just because there's still more criteria that needs to be defined. So it's this huge, like, kind of not so pleasant code to look at just because this huge switch statement. I want to move it and restructure it. Logically, I want to refactor it. I just haven't got around to it, because there's still more criteria that needs to be defined. But let's see what happens. So we've set these settings, right? So in theory, it should, we're overriding this, but what we could do is we could even randomize it, because we had variation 0, 1, and 2. Whoops, no. Okay, so we'll get 0, 1, and 2, but when it goes to create it, it's going to fail. It goes to, where's the create thing? Oh, that is the function. Where's the, I think I'm missing something here. Oh, okay, so this is the function it calls. So this function goes and assembles it, does all the calculations and all of that stuff, blah, 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 and then update appearance. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so this is where it fails. I have this bug that's kind of bugging me. You guys don't see it, but it just won't leave me alone. Okay, so here's the big ugly kind of switch statement. So what we need to do is we need to add a condition at the very bottom. And like I said, this needs to be refactored. I have no intention of leaving it like this indefinitely. But let's grab the capsule tree. Where is it? I just need one of them. Capsule. No, I want the tree capsule. Tree hex, twirl, pillar, cube. Where's the tree capsule? I could have probably just searched for it and found it by now. Okay, so there it is. Oh, it's the very first one, of course. Okay, so we'll grab this and we'll go to the very bottom. Okay, so this one is tree, not capsule, but what was that word again? There we go. Okay, so that's just the first one. We won't have a shadow caster because we don't have a shadow caster object for this. So it'll be without a shadow, but let's see what this looks like though. Okay, and how are we doing for time? Oh, it's getting close to there. Oh, right, okay. We need the other variations. Because we did tell it to randomly choose between variation 1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay. So we'll just add that in temporarily. Again, that whole section needs to be refactored. I don't want to do it now and then have to redo it again later. So I'm just going to leave it as is, let it just pile up, and then I'll implement a proper solution once I know all the criteria that I need. Okay, and there's our trees. I think that looks pretty good, actually. It would, of course, look better if they casted their shadow, but since they don't, it's like, whatever. Actually, I could fake that shadow. Let's fake that shadow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab from pillar. Pillar candy. Is it pillar or is it indestructible? I think it's pillar disc. I think that is it. Let's see if this works. So I'm just going to hard code it. Whoops. No, it's not what I meant to do. Okay, let's see if that works. It's just a temporary solution. I just want to get the shadow casting because I like the shadows being casted. I think it adds a lot more, I don't know. I can't think of the right word. I just think it looks much better when they cast shadows. And none of them. So it should have been a variation 0. Variation 0 was oh, I can't select anything. Variation 0 was the blue one. So the blue ones should have been casting a shadow. But you can see they're not. Okay, I was kind of hoping I could cheat that a little bit. Not like cheat, but just like a temporary solution for now. Okay. It's got to work though. What did I miss is the question. That should have worked. I think that should have worked. What does the output say? So in terms of the shadow casters, the 0 could not load resource pillar disk 0. Shadowcaster. Why? Because that should be basically the same as one of these. So if we go back, this one is what? Pillar disk. Oh. It needs the full path. That's what's missing. Okay. That's what's missing. So it should work. Again, it's not a great solution, but it should kind of work. Okay, so I need to add that to the beginning of it, and that should fix it. Okay, so let's see if the shadow works. It should hopefully work, but we'll find out. And yeah, so the blue ones are casting shadows now. The shadow is way too big. Can I scale? Change shadow object. What options do we have? Rotation? Do we have scale? No, it defaults to 111. What we can do is we can pass in optional parameter of float scale equals 1f. And then we can use scale as local scale. right? So it's an optional parameter, meaning that if it's not called, it'll still default, right? But then it should give us the option here to go inside of this call. Rotation, we're not going to change, so we leave at 0. But then scale, we'll change it to, let's say, 75%. And let's see what that does. Because the pivot point of the shadow is the very bottom, right? So if we scale it, it should scale properly. Of course, this is not the right shadow caster for this object, and we need to make one specifically for this object, but I don't want to do that right now. I just want a quick and dirty solution. Yeah, that worked. That worked. Okay, so if that works, then I can add the same for the others. Again, it doesn't matter what I'm really, okay, so it does matter, but it's okay to just kind of mess around with it like this real quick, okay? And this should give us the nice overall, like everything kind of comes together with the shadow and everything. And we should see it in all its glory. It's ironic, get more people than usual on my last broadcast. Hello and welcome to the broadcast. Hope you guys are enjoying your stay. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And that's when they're randomly selected. We could specify just one or the other, but I think that looks pretty good. But one detail. They're too tall. It covers up the tile behind it, which is exactly what I didn't want to do. So if there was an object, we'll say right here, right, you don't really see it because it's hidden in behind. So I don't know how I got my scale messed up, but I mean, we have another tree variation. We got that. So, but that's exactly what I wanted to avoid. So it's going to need to be considerably smaller. I find that very strange though. How is it like that? That doesn't make sense. I made it so. Oh, okay. So it's the position. This one aligns to the very front, whereas this one is centered on its position. That's why. So this needs to be significantly shorter still. I overlooked that detail. Either way, I think it still looks good. It's just that you can't see, like in behind here, you can't really see what's going on. When something is behind there, like you can kind of see it, but not really. And that's exactly what I wanted to avoid. Because when you're playing in a game room, so let me load up the local server. And I'll toss some test clients in there. So just bear with me for a minute. Almost there. Okay, so I'm just creating the room now. Gonna put these 2 players into that room, and then we will jump into there as well. Okay, so the room's created. Now we should be able to log in. Okay, I'm just going to grab my controller, and there's our game room. So when we go into it, you can see that the players. Okay. So you'll see that when I, like, the stuff that's behind the trees, only in the very, very front, you can't really see them, which is kind of unfortunate. But wow, these trees look good though. I really like them. I do. I think they're a great addition to our tree collection. It's like even the player, like you could see the players, half their body is kind of hidden in behind. Yeah, you just can't see at this point. So that's, I need to make a smaller tree. I'm going to keep these, of course. These are not throwaway trees. I definitely like the coloring of them, but I need to kind of make something that's more appropriate, because the top, like this looks good on the top part, and on the side they look great on both the sides. It's just this front row. So the other option is to put a different set of objects in the front row, or maybe not add anything at all even, but it kind of, like, it looks better if it's consistent all the way around, right? Instead of just somewhat. There's a bit of a hiccup there. Okay, but I think this looks pretty good though. I like these trees much better than the temporary placeholder mushrooms that we were using before. Don't get me wrong, I like those mushrooms, but they weren't meant for this. These are meant for this. So they look great, I think. I might even post a picture of it in Discord. But anyway, so with that, I will say hello. And I will say, or sorry, this one is hello. And this one is goodbye. So for those of you that came in, thank you for joining and watching the broadcast. I can see there's a bunch of people here. You're not counted. They don't count you if you're not active, basically, in chat. And for the guests, who knows how many there is. But this is going to be it, me wrapping it up on my last broadcast here. This isn't the very last broadcast, but I have to move because the place that I'm at, the owner is selling. So there's this whole, like, I've been through this many times. I move on average once or twice a year. So this is going to be the last broadcast for a while. You will not see me broadcasting unless I find the time, which is unlikely, but juggling work and finding a new place to move and other responsibilities and everything is going to be very time consuming for me. So I apologize that I will not be able to do these Tuesday, Friday broadcasts, but I will after this whole thing is dealt with. How long does it take? It varies, honestly. It could be 2 months, it could be 3 months, it could be more, it could be less. I don't really know. These things are out of my control, but what I do know is that it's something that I need to prioritize, so that will somewhat affect the project that I've been working on. So the project is going to be kind of not completely sidelined, but it's going to have less of a priority for me in terms of the things that I need to focus on too. The Halloween event is still going to happen. I have a YouTube video that I'm in the process of wrapping up, so a tutorial video for game development. Specifically, I show you guys how to implement this kind of auto scroll navigation, because the scroll view on its own does not behave in this way, where your selection is always kept within the viewable area, This is what the tutorial is exactly. This is what it will show you in a less cluttered and more simplified manner. But the tutorial gives you a really good starting point of how to do that. And you can just take that and go from there. But yeah, so for those of you that have been regulars, thank you for coming to hang out. And I really hope to see you guys again on future broadcasts, whether I'm moving into the new location or if the landlord changes their mind and I end up staying in this one for another year. I don't really know. Either way, I appreciate you guys taking the time to come hang out with me. And it's been fun. And I'll see you guys online. And sometime in the future, I'll see you in the next broadcast. That's going to be it for me today. So have a great weekend and take care. Bye.